I know what I need to do. I just can't stick with it. This is the real problem. And it's so frustrating because in 2024, we have all the answers right at our fingertips. Any kind of workout, any kind of meal plan, websites, blogs, podcasts, webinars, workshops. Everything we need to succeed is a button click away. But as you would have learned in the last episode, our failure rate is astonishingly high. But at least we know this much. We know that in order to obtain a healthy body, a healthy mind, to feel good overall, we need to be consistent. And you'll hear it all the time online. Just got to be more consistent. You just have to stick with it. But unfortunately, this is where the support begins to fizzle out. How do you build consistency? Oh man, well that's the $1 million question. Here is where we need to go off the beaten path and we need to blaze our own trail. Because simply saying you need to be consistent is not a solution. Consistency, or rather inconsistency, is a very deep, very layered issue with many branches. This concept of consistency has been the thing that I've been obsessed with for my entire career. And during the lockdown of 2020-2021, I literally locked myself in a room, pulled out 3 whiteboards, and attempted to create a formula for consistency, pulling out all of my old client files, every piece of information I have on coaching, and I spent months and months going over every scenario until finally I cracked it. I decoded consistency, and I'm going to share this with you. But in order for you to truly understand what it takes to be consistent, I'm going to have to hold your hand. We're going to have to take a walk together. Because to truly understand what it takes to be consistent, we need to understand why we're inconsistent. As I was locked away in my room, my mission was clear: to understand why every year around 45 million people embark on their personal fitness journey, and why less than 7% of those 45 million people will actually succeed. Why do we all go in with the best of intentions? Why do we have these profound wake-up calls where we see exactly what we're doing wrong and what we need to correct, and we jump in full of motivation, full of commitment, but somehow we inevitably fall off? And this was a personal issue for me because I take my job very seriously. I believe in the power of good health and wellness. I believe in the power of fitness, and it kept me awake at night. Why so many clients I've worked with still couldn't break through? I took that personally. And so I had to make it my mission to decode consistency, to understand inconsistency. And when I finally got to the bottom of it, well, that changed my entire life. And it changed my entire approach as a coach. So strap in and take this walk with me. So let's start from the problem. I know what I need to do. I just can't stick with it. I just need to be more consistent. So that's where I started. I started with, okay, why are we inconsistent? In terms of health and fitness, when we say I need to be more consistent, I need to be more consistent with my daily habits. And generally, the 3 major daily habits that we need to be consistent with are sleep, physical activity, and nutrition. So we need to get enough sleep, we need to exercise regularly, and we need to follow a nutritious diet daily. I need to consistently sleep, exercise, and eat well every day. So the question is now, I don't sleep, eat, and train every day consistently. Why? Generally, focus is the issue. I have a hard time staying on point with what I plan to do. So I might wake up in the morning with the plan to go to the gym after work and prepare a meal at home. But then as the day goes on, I decide to stay back later at work, and I make the choice not to go to the gym because now it's too late. It's also too late for me to prepare a meal, so I'm going to grab something instead. Are there days when you absolutely can't leave work? Yes. Are there days when you just don't have enough time and things are out of your control? Sure. But is it every single day? Absolutely not. So, assuming you're holding yourself accountable for your choices, we can then say, I have a problem focusing on the things I need to get done. If work gets in the way or some other task gets in the way, and if it habitually gets in the way, that's a distraction. Let's be crystal clear about this. If you plan your day ahead of time and say that you're going to go to the gym or prepare a meal, then when the time comes, there's nothing standing in your way from following through on the intentions you set for the day, and you don't do it, that's on you. And you can say, I lost focus. I allowed something else to take priority over what I had planned to do. In other words, I got distracted. I planned to leave work at 5. I wanted to finish up what I was doing. I got distracted. I left later than I wanted to. And please bear with me as I stay on these points, because this is the battle. This is the real work. In real life, there are no neon lights and loudspeakers signaling to you that it's time to move from one task to the next. So let's really sit with these moments that come up, because they come up every day. They come up so often that we just gloss over it. So the assumptions I've made so far are that the reason we are inconsistent is because we lack focus. We lack focus because we are easily distracted. Why am I making these assumptions? So when we talk about focus is your ability to direct your attention to a specific task and keep it there until the task is complete. And what stands in the way of focus? Distraction. And are we distracted in this 21st century, in the year 2024? Abso-freaking-lutely. The mental demands of this 21st century have increased exponentially over the past 20 years. Think about it. We've all been thrust into the digital age without a manual, and as technology rapidly grows and improves our capacity to do more, we end up taking on more. And the result of that is that our attention is so overloaded. For instance, over the past 20 years, the average attention span for adults has decreased from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. Think about that. That 4-second decrease in our attention span is very significant. So remembering and focusing on your goals has become increasingly difficult with everything that's going on in our minds. And what that means is an unfocused mind is easily distracted. It allows random, unexpected situations to take precedence over our planned actions. And the classic example is going to the gym. I plan to go to the gym, things keep coming up. I owned a 24-hour gym for 8 years. And I can tell you, based on our stats alone, more than 70% of our total revenue came from membership dues of members who never attended the gym. A lack of focus/distraction in terms of health and wellness looks like I signed up for a gym membership planning to go 5 days a week. I've never actually made it to the gym 5 days a week. It looks like I shop for groceries on the weekend so that I can make healthy meals during the week. My plan was to meal prep on Sunday, and I didn't have enough time to get it done. Are we that distracted? Well, let me ask you, do you check your phone as soon as you wake up? How long do you spend on it while you're in bed? Do you take your phone to the bathroom? How many extra minutes do you end up sitting on the toilet? Let's be real. Sometimes your leg goes numb, right? No judgment. I would know. When you're working on a task and take a little phone break, how long do you end up staying on your phone until you finally pull yourself away and get back to work? If you pay attention to these little things, you'd be alarmed at how often you actually check your phone, even if you don't have a call or a notification. And of course, it's not just the phone. How many hours a week do you spend watching TV? And don't get me wrong, I love a good TV show, but how often have you ended up watching past the time you plan to sleep? How many times did you start another episode when it was time to turn off? When these vices take up large chunks of your time, then you have to acknowledge that there is an imbalance in your life. And don't get it twisted, it's not just the digital age to blame. What about drama? This is a problem a lot of women face and don't even recognize it. How often do you get into gossip that ends up taking up more time than you intended? Sure, some issues require discussion, but do you find yourself habitually in the middle of either listening to drama or being in the middle of it? There's the talking about and listening to the drama, and then there's the time after, when you spend thinking about the drama even after the moment has passed. Then of course, there's just being busy. Are you busy being busy? Do you find yourself always having to do something else before you can exercise? You can do this exercise over and over and you will see that distraction is at the root of inconsistent behavior. And from this perspective, it makes sense why getting enough sleep, eating healthy, and exercising are so difficult to follow. It's like having a conversation with someone but paying attention to the music in the background and not hearing a word of what the person is saying, even though you're looking right at them. You can be physically present and mentally absent. And then, of course, all of that culminates into mental noise, that non-stop stream of thinking, jumping from thought to thought. That's also an issue. That's also a symptom of distraction. So if we were to really break it down step by step, we can now say, I want to get more sleep, I want to eat healthier, I want to exercise regularly, but I can't. Why? I'm inconsistent. Why? I'm not focused. Why? I am distracted. If you're constantly distracted, then you cannot be focused. If you're not focused on your goals, then the plans you made for yourself get lost in your mind. They lose their importance as you end up losing your drive. That's why the night before it was really important to you to put together a salad for dinner, but the next day when it's busy, you end up grabbing something from the drive-thru. So why you have a hard time getting enough sleep? Because you habitually get sucked into scrolling or watching a show, starting another episode when you're supposed to turn off. And then you create this really tough loop, this cycle, where you wake up the next day and your motivation to do the right thing goes out the window because you're tired and lethargic, and the only thing you can focus on is getting through the day. But at this point, the question changes. It's no longer, how do I become consistent? The question is now, how do I limit my distractions and improve my focus? And that, my friends, we got to say goodbye to health and fitness. We got to say goodbye to all the tactics and strategies. And now we have to get deeper. The answer is your attention. Your attention drives everything. Some might argue that this is your most valuable resource. Not time, but your attention. Because your attention determines how and where you spend your time. Everyone is fighting for your attention. You will invest your time and money into the things that keep your attention. And if you want to have more control over where to direct your attention, then a good way to think of it is think of attention as your mind's money. Let's bring it back to health and fitness. Imagine you went on a weekend bender. You either drank too much or you binged out on food. So you wake up on Sunday morning, and this is when you're usually feeling the worst about yourself. But it's also the day that you tell yourself, you know what? I need to do better this week. I'm going to recommit myself. I'm going to stay on top of my food. I'm going to get to bed earlier. I'm going to get to the gym. On this Sunday, I'm so focused on my goals. But what happens in the middle of the week? Why do I not feel the same conviction as I did on Sunday? That commitment to do better. Where's that on Friday? It might feel like you ran out of something. When you lose focus, what you're doing is you're losing your ability to keep your attention on the thing that you want. Think of your focused attention like a daily allowance of money that you have to spend. Your attention is like an antenna. It's always scanning, always looking for something to focus on. This is really important to understand because you're always looking for something to which you can pay attention. Every day, you can decide where you pay attention. But the scary part is if you don't choose where to focus your attention, then something else will come along and grab it. Like if you're working on your computer, but you're not focused, you might pick up your phone to answer a call. After the call, you might notice you have a notification on your phone. You open the notification, then you open up an app. You scroll for a bit. The next thing you know, you spend 10 minutes more on your phone than you should have. That's 10 minutes less that you now have to complete your work. Losing focus is very subtle. And if focus was money, then you just spent your mind's money on something that you didn't really want. Either way, whether you direct your focus or not, your daily allowance of attention will be spent. Just like your money, there are many forces that are competing to get you to pay attention to them, but it is up to you to decide. If you're not focused, then your attention will be stolen from you. And if we think of our attention as our mind's money, where do we invest it? That's an important question to think about because where attention goes, energy flows. Think about it. When you paid attention to your schooling, you came out with a college degree. When you paid attention to saving for a house, you came out with a house. And of course, spoiler alert, if you pay attention to your lifestyle goals, you get healthier. And there is another connection between the digital age and our attention and why we lose focus. The media, social media, TV, all of these things, they sap you, they give you little dopamine hits, and we keep going back for it more and more. You invest your attention into scrolling on social media, TV shows, video games, gambling, porn, junk food, drinking, even drama and gossip, because these things actually reward our attention, but only in a small way and only in the short term. But in terms of minutes or hours, how much of your daily attention allowance, how much of your attention money do you spend on things that are not aligned with your goals? If every day you had to be stingy with your attention, how much of it would you be able to direct to the things you really want? And over my years of working with clients, it has become clear that the ones who reach their goals are the ones who are focused. And what's focus? Focus is the ability to invest all of your attention into the task that you have set out to do to achieve your desired result. So, if you're with me this far, we can actually create a little attention consistency model. And we can frame it like this. Well-managed attention decreases distractions. When that happens, decreased distractions allows for increased focus. When that happens, increased focus allows for more attention on your goals. When that happens, more attention on your goals increases your daily consistency. And when that happens, your daily consistency brings results. Where you pay/invest your attention is the big secret. If you're easily distracted because you're not able to focus, then you will always have a hard time achieving your goals. So if your mind feels like a jumbled mess, but you have goals that you're struggling to reach, then ask yourself, how do I take control of my attention? We're far away from health and fitness now. And this, friends, is why I have become a meditation teacher. This is why I've become a life coach. This is why I have leaned heavily into the mental aspect of health and fitness, because fitness is mental. If you have a lot of stuff going on in your head, if you have a hard time staying on task, if you're easily distracted, then it is next to impossible to achieve these health and fitness goals. And this is why mindfulness, meditation, quiet time have become so popular. Listen, when you're 40 plus, we have accumulated a lifetime of stories, of stress, of trauma, of trials and tribulations. And I wish we can just dust ourselves off and just keep going. But there's a lot of stuff we need to sift through. We need to declutter our minds. In order to do that, we need to create space in our minds. In order to create space in our minds, we need time. We need solitude. We need silence. One of the biggest drawbacks of this technological age, we no longer lay in bed and stay awake for 10, 15, 20 minutes. While it might seem boring back in the day, we were actually given an opportunity to process. That's where we did it. We laid in bed and we thought about our day, and we thought about the interactions we had and who said what and who did what and what I could have done or said differently. But because we have these devices next to us at all times, we're constantly stimulated right before we pass out. So there's no opportunity to process. As a parent, we have a rule where our kids need to go upstairs to their room and do absolutely nothing, not even read. We send them upstairs for about 30 minutes and tell them, lay down, stare at the ceiling, stare out the window, do absolutely nothing. Because we just can't keep inputting, collecting, and never processing. Reflect on your attention. What do you pay attention to? What distracts you? What pulls you off your tasks? This is the biggest, most important piece of advice I can give you. Manage your attention. Be guarded with it. Be stingy with it. In the next episode, we're going to dive into why mindfulness can help you manage your attention, which in turn eliminates distraction and increases focus. But until then, pay attention to how you pay attention. Thank you for tuning in, my friends. I appreciate all of the feedback, all of the encouragement and support that you guys are giving me. This podcast is truly a labor of love. It has always been my dream to take everything I've learned in this industry and share it with as many people as possible. Because health and fitness changed my life. It transformed my life. And I know it can do the same for you. It's a tough mental road ahead, but it is absolutely possible. And you will do this. And while we take this journey together, remember, think with a beginner's mind. Beginners only see possibilities. Be good. Stay focused. You got this.